Welcome to the Community ROI podcast. Here, senior community experts, founders, and C-level managers tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth about how community impacts business growth. By listening to these conversations, you'll get actionable steps on how to connect community goals with business goals to skyrocket business growth while still bringing extreme value to community members. My name is Yurii. I help people and brands shine through communities and personal connections. And my guest is Ana Julia Braga, an experienced community builder who has spent the last few years building and scaling communities from the ground up and figuring out what makes online space tick. And today leads a global network of 40,000 users at ClassDojo, turning community conversations into insights and insights into business growth. So, welcome, Ana Julia.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
It's been some time when we first connected. Then it was a little bit of a pause, and then I was like, oh my God, Ana Julia is an amazing expert. We need to talk. Let's do it. Let's do this conversation. And when I was going through a LinkedIn profile, I saw that you got this data science for business from Harvard certificate. And it's something that I'm always telling, like community experts need to have some business education. So I'm curious, how is that helping you with your community work?
Yeah, that's funny. It came out of maybe a natural interest and also a necessity. Like our company, the company that I currently work for now, ClassDojo, it operates with a very lean team. So of course, our data science team is very sought after. And there have been moments where we didn't have as much data support as we wanted to. Like there were like many questions that we wanted to answer in terms of like what of our activities were driving the real impact for the business. And so, I mean, when there is something that needs to be done, a question that needs to be answered, I mean, I get restless. So I first started playing like with SQL language, like as a self-learner, just to like um, look into our database and find some um, answers to the questions that I had. But then I was like, I think I need a broader understand of data and how that fits into the whole business and, just trying to understand things better from a macro perspective. So I really wanted to take that course and it was really fun. It was really helpful.
What is the data that you're usually working with in the community?
Um, so now we don't have any data support. Like we don't have I mean, we could always like ask questions to our data team. They're fantastic. They're super smart. They're incredible. But we don't have a dedicated data scientist working with our team. So what I do is whatever like data we collect from the community or we collect from the engagement tactics we do with our users, I will just organize that data in a way that we can connect that with our broader database that will include their engagement with our product. So I make those pipelines, those connections. And then by looking at everything, I kind of like digest that data and create dashboards for our internal team and for the broader teams so they can understand and analyze like lifetime how our community actions are influencing our broader goals.
We'll definitely talk more about how community connected with other teams, and we'll definitely mention all those dashboards. And to create some data, you need to make some activity. So I'm curious, what is one community activity that you enjoy the most and why?
Mhm. So, I love chatting with people and learning about them, like learning more about their day to day and their what inspires them. And we are very lucky at ClassDojo. We have a very inspiring user base. They're educators, they're teachers. And ClassDojo has a mission that is to give every child on earth an education they love. So our super advocates that we call mentors, they like really embody that mission. So they are educators that, want to go above and beyond for their students. So they're not just like doing their job. They're like thinking of ways they can do it better, more efficiently, but without a lot of love, with a lot of love, and always like like amazing the kids. So that's my favorite part because every time I have a chance to chat one-on-one with like one of those people, the stories always like take me aback, like it's so incredible to see, like, even with all the hardship that we have these days in education, how those people are making a difference. So I always come super energized after having a chance to be like with one of those educators, either in person or like a virtual live chat. And the way we do this in our community is like we make a point of having one-on-one chats more often than not, but we also have at least one moment in the month where we get those mentors together in a Zoom call,
Hmm.
and we connect with them and we let them connect with each other. We call them mentor parties. And it's a moment where we will take the opportunity to share what's new, but we also like source maybe some inspiration from one or two members of our community, and we spotlight that to give those educators new ideas for their classroom. And there's this moment of connection at the end that we just like let them go and break our rooms and chat. It's a unique moment for them because they get to chat with people that share that mission, share that vision, and they're from all over the world. So they are always like, "Wow, I can't believe I'm chatting with someone from Ukraine. That's incredible," So it's really lovely, and but they get to chat with us too, and they're super excited about that. And that strictly relates to business because like last um business year, what we did is we set up a holdout. So a group of teachers that didn't get any like emails from the community team, didn't get an invite for the community, didn't know about any of our initiatives. And we compared those against with the people that were participating, getting like all the news and everything. And we saw that there was a clear impact, a clear like business impact, revenue growth being driven, but most importantly, the activity that drove the most growth was participating in like live calls, having like a live opportunity to interact with our team or with learning from other mentors. It's always like, of course, a structured learning moment when we will give them like, here's inspiration for you. And that, of course, we plan it so it's tied to our business goals, but it's just so energizing for them. I feel like they really feel part of the community when they have those moments.
Wait, am I hearing it correctly that you are gathering people having fun and it impacts business?
No, that's true.
How is it even possible? Usually they say, oh, like all those people, they are just talking to each other. Like, why they are having this coffee chats while they're having fun? It's not business related. It's anyhow connected. That's usually what some of CEOs thinking or some leadership and stuff. So how do you think these meetups are impacting? Like, why do you think that business grows because of those meetups?
Um, so I think number one is like a shared identity. Like, I think you feel very empowered to take action when you recognize what you believe in other people, and you get encouragement from them. Because, like, so just a quick context. This is how ClassDojo works. It's a free product, so it's free for all teachers, all schools, unlimited access. Um, However, we monetize through parent products. So if a teacher uses ClassDojo with your classroom and they connect parents to send like updates from the class and everything, those parents get access to this pool of resources that they can use to support learning at home, and like some of them are paid for. So the more teachers we have using ClassDojo connecting to parents, the bigger our network. So the bigger the chances to grow our revenue. So that's basically how we work, and like how we keep it free for teachers as well. Um, so like with that, what we want and to get very excited about is like teachers sharing with each other like how amazing ClassDojo can be, like how impactful it can be in their classrooms for their families, and getting each other excited about it. And then there's like more teachers using, more parents connected, and then more chances for the company to thrive. And that happens like especially on a school level. But the thing is, you can be a teacher that is very excited about like delighting your students, and you find ClassDojo as a great tool for that. But you're more like an introvert, or you think that you're gonna bring that up to your like workmates and they're not gonna care. So I think when they find themselves in those spaces and they see other teachers sharing their stories of success, like, wow, like I shared this with my school and that changed everything. Because it does, like it's a pretty cool tool, and it helps teachers like save time and creates a stronger connection with the families. Like really, it really helps the kids, and the kids love it. So I think when they see that they can be, the driving force for change there, and they see, oh, other people are doing it, that's pretty cool. They get encouraged and empowered. And we also give them easy resources to share. Like if they don't have like the um, maybe availability to go chatting one-on-one with people in their school, we give them like cool handouts and stuff like that. So those live calls are also like opportunities for that. So I'd say number one, the share identity, like empowerment and encouragement, but also like the variety of resources and ideas that we give for them to share.
It sounds like you are supporting people who don't really who are not kind of like your customers in a way that they're not paying customers. So they are still customers, but someone else is paying, which is like double amazing. So you, yeah,
Mhm.
as a customer, as a community member, you receive all the support, you receive all this inspiration, and you don't even have to pay for that. Amazing. Like it's the best product ever. I would be the person of this community, the member of this community. And let's come back a little bit to the definitions. We already jumped into more like business details and how those things are connected. But what's your definition of a community for business?
Okay. So I'd say first breaking it down, like I see a community as a group of people who share an identity, because I think there could be a misconception when you have a product that a community is a group of people that use your product, but that doesn't work. Like those people need to have like something that's like brings them together, like some beliefs beyond using your product. So I think if you want to tap into community as a growth lever, if you want to use like community for business, you have to find that shared identity. So for us at ClassDojo, it's like people that see themselves as educators first. And then like our product is just a tool, right? And like then going a little deeper, we talked about the mission, like giving every child an education they love. So the word love is important there because what I see in our community members is that drive, to like do more and the lights and like go above and beyond to have a real impact on those kids' lives through education. And I think, yeah, that's distinction helps a lot because when your community is thriving, I think it's because you're serving like your members' identity and not just like your conversion funnel. Um, yeah, so I think it's very relationship based. It's slower. It's not like paid ads or stuff like that. That drives immediate impact, but it's worth it. It's far more durable.
Yeah, I always used to say before this agentic search engines, I was saying that creating a community is like SEO compared to paid ads. If you want like quick results, you go and like get some paid ads, get
Mhm.
customers and sell them something. But if you really
Yeah.
want to build connection, if you want to build this traffic over time, you invest in SEO, you invest in articles, you do this like system building, and afterwards you receive results. So coming back to another definition. What's your definition of a community goal?
hmm Okay, so a community goal needs to be like a specific, like measurable behavior that you want your members to take, right? So your community members to take. So we were talking about that a little bit of like how community metrics can be important. Of course, community health is relevant, right? Maybe you're like paying for a community space and like you really want um, your users to take advantage of that space and you want them to engage and you want the community to be alive, but what really matters is like how your community is impacting like the broader business goals, right? So for us, it's not like a community goal. It's not to have a mentor, a super advocate, like posting every week in the community. It's actually having them share with other teachers in their school about ClassDojo. Like that is what is driving the real impact. And the way we have thought about these community goals is like, okay, we have a few like ideas of what could help those teachers, those mentors like share ClassDojo. So let's just invest in that and let's just like measure for a year to see what really, really drives real like business impact.
You shared with me already this example of how you love those meetings where you have to invest in connections and meet those teachers and speak with them and connect them with each other. Is this one of the examples of community goals that you are working on? Or maybe is there something else, some other community goals that you are working with at the moment, or maybe worked before that inspires you the most?
Um, Yeah, I think like overall, what inspires me the most is like proving that community can drive real business outcomes, and not just like feel good. Because many times they think, yeah, we have to nurture our users and like community is that, source of delight. We're like, just doing nice things for them. They're like events and engagement opportunities and whatnot, sometimes like raffling some swag. Um, so I think my number one goal is like proving that it's not just that. I mean, it's really driving um, outcomes for a business. And for us, it's like when teachers are actively involved in the community, their schools like actually grow and they stick around more. Um, last year, when we had a chance to do this like broader holdout analysis of like teachers who were not in the community, not getting any communication from us, and teachers that are actually a part of it, we kind of like broke it down into different like populations. We were like, whoa, how different it is. Like, if they are joining events, if they are downloading resources, if they're just in the community, if they're in the community and they're very active. So we did that whole analysis of those different like populations, and we found out that the teachers that were like most active were driving the most growth.
Hmm.
And the two activities that were like the most impactful were like joining live events with our team and getting to interact with other super advocates, and downloading the resources that we provide them like throughout the year. So it was like the proof that we needed, like they can be there and like get the communications and everything, but when there's like the hands of the community team on it more actively, which is the events and the resources that we grabbed based on their like current needs, that's what's driving the most growth. So I think I'm always like passionate about um, tying our activities to growth. And this year, there are like new challenges because we're trying different things that we're betting will drive as much growth as like the live event. We are experimenting with different formats of live events that we expect to drive even more growth. So I think this is something that I'm very passionate about. I'm very excited about like doing experiments and see like, hey, how can we iterate like our live event a format to drive even more growth, or like, are we approaching our resource strategy the right way? Is there anything we can do? Should we do resources more often? Like, what kind of resources will be most helpful? So, like, always trying out different things, like serving the community for their opinion, like chatting one-on-one with people to get, you know, their feelings about the new stuff that we're doing. So, yeah.
How do you understand what resources to create?
Um, I think chatting with the community, using polls. We like our team, we're all former teachers, so I think that helps a lot. We can put ourselves in their shoes and think, okay, so if I wanted to share this thing that I'm excited about with other teachers, like what would be the most helpful? But we're always like talking to them to understand what sticks and what could be most helpful, not only like in the content of the resources, but also in terms of like the formats, like what format would be easier to share. And I think um, another great one that we always think about for teachers these days is like time saving hacks. Like they want to do cool things that their students are going to be excited about, but teachers are super busy. So we also think of our resources like in terms of like life saving and time saving hacks in a format that's easy to digest and share.
Do you gather a feedback of whether they implement what they learned from the resources they've got from you?
We do. We usually like very often, like every time we do like a big resource sharing, or like we invest more time in putting together a resource kit for them, we survey them after, and we get a pulse of like if they shared, how they shared, like what parts of the resource kit like were more efficient. So we're always doing that to see like if we are moving in the right direction.
It feels like it gives you a lot of extra data,
Mhm.
to do you see any correlation between teachers that are going to events and teachers that are using resources? Why I'm asking this, because it's always the thing that in community you have active members and you have lurkers. And I can clearly see that active members are very engaged and going, of course, all the time to the events. And once again, there are lurkers who are still getting a ton of extra value and who are still bringing a lot of business value, but they don't want, or as you've said, they don't have time. So that's why they might be focused on resources. So do you see any correlations between those two things?
Yeah, I see like different tiers of engagement because we still see meaningful business impact from the lurkers. Let's put it like this. Just the fact that like those teachers are part of the community makes them prone to being a lot more active. So they are, like downloading the content, and the ideas and putting those into action. And then the ones who like are willing to take a step further will be like always downloading our resources and telling us they shared like a proportion, like a part of them, a portion of them will like tell us they shared. And then like the highest tier, they're there in front of the camera. They're joining like every opportunity they can to interact with us. So the people who are joining event are also downloading resources. The people that are downloading resources are not always like joining the event, but we're always like trying hard to get them to join because we know that's like after they join um first, like the first time, they will want to come back. So
So you told me that you're working with a lot of data and also you're creating these resources. And we all know that AI is pretty good with all those things. So I'm curious, how do you use AI in your community journey?
so I have a funny story with AI because I think it kind of blew up like in a way that we started getting a lot of like new and very interesting tools at the beginning of the last year. And it was a time that for a variety of reasons, my community team, like I think in a space of like 3 to 4 months, was like 7 people, 6 people, 5 people, 3 people, 2 people. One goes on maternity leave, and then that's me. So I was holding down the fort by myself, and of course, like the company was like, hey, we're going to like work on restaffing the team and everything. So maybe just like keep the boat afloat. We're not asking you to do more than you can. But at the same time, I was like, no, we had a plan. We were going to drive so much impact this year. I can't just like let it go. So that's when AI came along and it helped me a lot because it helped me do so much more than what I could do as like a single person because I was able to like automate just so many tasks. And one that I can give as a good example is whenever like, okay, so we have our super advocates that are driving a lot of growth and business revenue for us. And we need to like grow that pool of super advocates. We need to find the right people. So one way that we do it is like, okay, let's look for like these signals of product usage and go after the right people. So I would usually like need data science support to do that first part. But when AI came along, like our DS team knew that I had an interest in data, and they were like, you know what? Let's get you set up with Cursor. Cursor is great for you to, just help you query your database with like just basic SQL knowledge. So I was able to like pull those audiences and then change the targeting, experiment with different targeting to see what would work best in terms of like driving more applications. So that was like, of course, huge. It helped me a lot. And then when we like send the invites to like that pool of people, we over the last couple of years, we developed an application system that we really believe in. That's like if people are completing that application until the end, they're really committed. They are our people. Um, and then, of course, we would need to like assess their answers to see if like they fit the role and everything. And that was a very manual process. Like sometimes people got very excited answering, and it would take maybe like 5 to 10 minutes to approve a single application. But the thing is, we would get applications like in the bulk of like 8,000. So can you imagine how long it took? Like the first time we got this big amount of applications, we started like sourcing people, contractors from other teams to help us like review the applications. We were always like so behind. People were taking like maybe a month to hear back from us. So we started experimenting with like LLMs parsing through the applications and reviewing them for us. So we did that. It took a little while because this is very delicate. We don't want someone who puts like fantastic educator that put a lot of time into the application to get a no because our AI agent is not um, I don't know, like sensible enough to like analyze those answers. So it took like a lot of iteration to get to the right point, but let's say it got like 99% effective. So that part was done. We still needed to like manually go in and approve the applications in our system. So that was like the last block I needed to resolve. And I was able to do that with Cursor as well, because like Cursor allowed me to create data pipelines that would, pull information from Google Sheet, which is where like all of our application content was living into our database and then into like our API for like the approvals and the clients. So now our super advocates application system is automatic. I don't spend any time on it. Sometimes things break because it's technology and I have to go in and fix it. And like from time to time, I will go in as well and see if like the agent is doing a good job and if it's approving the right people. But it is. I haven't had any problems with it in a while, but I think that's a very great example. Like I was desperate. I didn't have time to manually review and approve 8,000 applications and with like collaboration with other teams and like being like hands-on doing research. I was able to like automate that task and not spend any time on it. So like the pool of super advocates was still growing and all I needed to do was nurture it. So
It sounds like you've got extra 10 people to work for you and they're doing
yeah.
it almost like in a second and you don't even have to check them. It's
Yeah.
an amazing story. Thank you for sharing that. And also you told about this collaboration with other teams. So if we are talking about another other team except for community itself, so what three teams do you usually work the most with when building community and how does a community impact them?
So I usually work closely with product, sales, and marketing in slightly different ways. The way we work with product is like our our super advocates are really committed to giving product feedback, and they love to be heard about it. They love to share their ideas. So we like naturally get a lot of feedback in the community, and a lot of like very good feedback, very like substantial. So what we do is like every month or sometimes even more often, we like condense that feedback into like a listening report that we share back with our product teams. And like over time, we have iterated on the format. So it's like really easy to digest, and for them to like act on, or for them to like ask follow-up questions if they need to. And now we're using AI as well, to generate that listening report. So it's a way to pretty much use what's already there and create value for our team. Um, we also work closely with sales because ClassDojo is a free product, but we do have a sales team because when we work with like bigger organizations, like a whole school district, they have a whole process of like signing agreements and everything. So we need a sales team to support that. And sometimes, well, I like to think about it this way, like, you're always going to say good things about your product, right? It's your product. But when there's somebody else saying good things about your product, and like it's someone like you believe in, that makes the whole difference. And it's the same for like district leaders. Like it's one thing when they hear from us, but it's a total different thing when they hear from their teachers that they believe in the product that they're using. And like at the end of the day, if they hire like if they buy a new tool for their district, they will have to convince the teachers to use it. So if the teachers are already excited about it, win-win. So we tap into our teachers a lot, especially our super advocates, to advocate for ClassDojo within their districts. And we tap into the community a lot for that. It's like having one-on-one calls to generate testimonials, like quotes that we can use. Sometimes we even play videos for the district leaders, and that helps a lot in moving those accounts through like our sales funnel, because then they see like they're real people, they're real day-to-day stories, and it makes a very, very big impact.
And about marketing team.
For the marketing team, like we amplify our campaigns with people that's like already believe in what we're building, right? So whenever we have a new feature, we collab with the marketing team to give early access to our super advocates, which they love. They will give good feedback also to product, and they will be like those early adopters that will help that new feature like grow within their schools. So yeah, we're constantly collaborating with our marketing team to do special things for our teachers.
Sounds like teachers are also amazing audience for like these three teams, because they always ready to give feedback because they know how it works. They always giving feedback to their students and it helps them to grow. But if they give feedback to the product they use, it helps them to grow and it helps them to help their students and stuff. So it's and then sales, as you've said, just show an example. And I feel like sales and marketing are very, very near here because it's both like examples that you can use like to move this district governmental power, how do you call them, like in a pipeline, and also it helps you to market the product to wider audience of teachers, so it's kind of like going like hand by hand. And it feels like for me personally, when I'm listening to you, it feels like you don't really need to bring any impact, you already have all the visibility you need internally about how community impacts business. And still, how do you bring this visibility? Do you need to bring this visibility? And if yes, how do you do this?
I think that's very important First, because we get like as community leaders, we get very used to those amazing stories, and we're like drowning in the love of our community members, and we forget that our people that are like, on the shore, they're not in it, they're not seeing it. So one thing that I think we try to be very intentional and conscientious about is like always bringing up those stories. We see something cool in the community. Let's put it like we use Slack for our internal communication. So let's just surface that story on Slack. Like we hear something cool about a certain part of our product. Let's share in that product team's channel, because they don't get to talk to teachers every day. They're just there building. So I think having contact with those stories is just like so inspiring and exciting for them. So I think one is like being very um, intentional and like sharing back those stories. And we talked about community goals, right? So I think when you see like product teams or like growth marketing teams, they're very like religious in sharing their progress to goal, maybe like every week. And maybe community teams might not have that same, um, concern or focus, but I think it's very important to treat community as any other part of the business, because it does have the same or sometimes a bigger value. So having a clear way to report your goals, like your progress to goal, we use like in our company, we use that 3 piece format, just like progress, plans, problems, which is like a clear, compact way to say, like, so here's how we've done so far. Here are the ideas we are excited about. Here's what we're working on. And if we have any issues, that's a way to like get cross-functional help. And since we work like with a lean team, I think that's also an incredible way to give visibility to other people and get ideas from like other teams, like other team members that we wouldn't think about asking, but they will come in with great ideas to support. So
You've also before said that community is a long-term game, so it doesn't work immediately. And also, throughout your career, you've been building communities from scratch. So, how do get leadership on board and invested exactly when community is a long-term ROI?
I think there's always a way to tie community to immediate goals. I think the long-term game is a bigger thing. I think long-term community has an incredible impact on retention. But you can also like prove that community is driving growth in more like immediate ways, right? So and one thing that I always like, one system that I always like use when I want to like communicate um the more immediate impact of community is like reverse engineering a goal. So like one example is like our goal for the broader company this year, like number one company goal is to drive X more communicating teachers. So teachers that are connected to parents, right? So we are going to get that goal and think, okay, so how can community, especially our super advocates, like impact that goal? Oh, maybe there's like X and Y actions that we believe are the most impactful. Okay, so how often are we going to do that? How are we going to measure it? Is there a way that we can report on that every month so we have like a clearer progress to goal? So I think digesting things to like a smaller goal within community that impacts like the broader goal is a great way to do it. And I think long term, you can prove like other impacts that community has, like brand love. Our super advocates are crazy about the product, and that definitely makes a difference. They will die and kill to use it. Like if somebody tells them do not use it, they won't accept it. I have seriously like met people at conferences that say, so my district doesn't use ClassDojo anymore. I'm not supposed to use it, but I'm using it undercover. And I'm like, this is so rad, you know? Yeah, I think brand love and retention are gonna be like the long-term game, but they're like ours. There are always like smaller growth initiatives that you can take and like measure more constantly.
You also made up very visible the point that to build a successful community and to create these ambassadors that love your product, you have to have an amazing product. Otherwise, it won't work that way. So it's
Yeah.
all very, very intersected.
For
And
sure. Yeah.
I have so many questions. I feel like we are just scratching the surface of what exactly you're working on. But you already shared a lot of great, amazing nuggets of wisdom, and we'll definitely have a second conversation at some point later. So get ready for that. And I wish to have the sky as a limit, but time is a limit. So the final question: what is one thing to do right away for someone struggling with identifying their community ROI?
Mhm. Um, yeah, so I have already talked about reverse engineering your company goals. So I think that would be one of my suggestions. But the simplest thing you can do is just like compare people who engage with your community to people who don't. So maybe there's like something that your company really cares about now. Maybe there is a new feature that they really want users to like start exploring. So you can get the one metric. Okay, so let me measure how this feature usage is like moving, comparing people who are in the community and are hearing about it, like getting resources to people who don't. Um, and yeah, I think that can apply in so many different situations.
Last but not least, name two people I should reach out to talk about community ROI.
Okay, so I have learned a whole lot from community ROI personally from Ashley Williams, who's now leading Community as Tribe. Love Ashley, and she is a very approachable person. She is out there doing like podcasts and like leading conversations at community summits. So I would always like reach out to her. Um, and I also love Evan Hamilton from HubSpot. I took a course with him a while ago, driving real business impact with community, something like that. Um, and it was super helpful, like in the way I think about business impact, clarifying things. And Evan is also like super helpful, super approachable. So yeah.
Is there one question about community ROI that I should have asked you but didn't?
Hmm. I think we covered a lot. So nothing comes to mind now, but I'm looking forward to a second conversation.
Get ready for that. And Ana Julia, thank you so much for sharing your personal experience, especially in this very motivational way, because hearing your story when you create these ambassadors that are using product even when the district are not kind of allowing them to do that, I feel like that's you can call it success, and congratulations on that.
Thank you.
And Yeah, thank you so much once again, and see you in the community world. And thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions about how the community can help you reach and overcome your business goals faster, let's connect on LinkedIn and talk about it. That's it. We're done. See you in the next episode.